as a salestor, as a salesperson, you are forced to do a fixed minimum number of cold calls per day. And the idea is that the more number of calls will help you land the desired number of meetings, and ultimately the desired number of sales, achieving your target. So, what are your thoughts on that? Should the focus be on the number of cold calls?
Let me just say that I have I believe that when you're learning something new, you have to do more than when you're really good at it. Okay, which says to me right then and there that when you're good at it, you don't need to make as many. So putting why are we giving everybody the same number is first of all the big issue that I see there. It doesn't make sense. And I'll be real personal about this. When I was selling at Xerox, I was the top rep in our region at that time. And my boss said to me, Jill, you are not doing enough demos. You need to be demonstrating this machine more. And I said, but Maurice, I am the #1 rep. My territory is far out. Nobody wants to come in and see this. He said, you have to do that. And I said, but Maurice, I'm the #1 rep. Why are you insisting that I do more demos? I'm obviously better at it, at what I'm doing than other people. I don't need as many prospects either as other people. And you're yelling at me and saying, I need more prospects. I need more prospects. I'm closing more prospects than other people. And he said to me, yes, Jill, that's all true. Get this. But I'm evaluated by how many calls my people are making. So would you please lie for me? I was like, oh my God. He's evaluated on total number. So anyway, that's why I've been against things since early in my career, that the same number should not be applied to everybody. So what do I think people should do? I think people should focus on getting better. I think they should, if you've got a boss who's doing that, if you're at quota, I think you should talk to your boss about potentially experimenting and trying some new ways to see if you can find a way to get better results. And you should invite a challenge that let's do some experiments. Can we try something different? And engage the boss in the process. And rather than fight directly, which is what I fought directly, my boss said, lie, you can't do that today if they're tracking your calls by the software they've got. But I think you should engage people and say, let's try a different way. And what if there is a better way? I mean, this is going back to creating. What if there is a better way? What if we can get better results? And what if we analyzed our calls to see, what's happening? I mean, there's some really cool software out there right now, that can track what you're saying and what is the difference and where do you run into trouble, and people can work on getting better. I mean, I think that's important, and I think the whole goal should be on getting better, not making the exact number of demos, presentations, proposals. That better is better than more.
Salesforce usually don't even realize when they are, kind of utilizing their time less productively, or how their time could be effectively managed. So this you have perfectly highlighted in your book, More Sales, Less Time. And can you share some snippets that salesforce could use today while working in a hybrid office environment, which means that half the week they are at work and the other half they are working from home?
Some tips that people could use?
Yeah, some tips. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just say the #1 tip that I would tell people is to turn off the notifications.
That's that's the biggest, the distraction.
Well,
Truly.
seriously, it's like, I have my cell phone right here. I don't have my notifications on. There is no noise that's going to happen to pull my attention away from you. But I have sat with people who are working on a proposal or getting ready for something. They're constantly, and what people don't realize is that the constant pickup and the constant shifting of our attention is one of the biggest issues out there, because it makes our brain slower. I mean, our brain cannot process information. It's like it takes twice as long to get back to where you were thinking of than you realize, and the quality of your thinking decreases. So if you're really trying hard to be good at your job and to be efficient, the first thing you should do is turn off all notifications. You do not need to know what's happening on the news right now. You do not need to know about your favorite sports team and who they traded for or how they did in the recent World Cup right now. You don't need to know about election results, which in the US have been crazy. You don't need to know about what's going on right now. What you need to do is focus on the work that you have to do. I mean, so I think that the moving away from the simple distractions is really good, and we don't realize how much they take our brain power. And the second thing I think to do is to really book your day out ahead of time, not just let your day flow from your email, and to just sit down and say, okay, I'm going to look at my schedule and think about what I want to do, and I need to plot my day out. And you could plot it out the night before and say, I'm going to spend 2 hours in the morning researching a customer or researching multiple customers. I'm going to be at 11 o'clock, I'm going to go on LinkedIn and do that, to have specific times to do your email, as opposed to, again, bouncing in and out because you have some notifications, you have more emails. But to literally set yourself a time frame to do it, that helps too, because you get in a flow and you get more done in less time. So, I mean, those are just a few little things. But
Yeah.
those little things actually do make a big difference. So,
Yes. I guess, yeah, at times the most effective solutions are the most simple and the basic ones. So, yeah.
yeah. The other thing I'd suggest too, and this sounds really strange, but to get up and move, and to if we've been at our computer, working away at our computer for a long time, our brain sort of gets fried. And if you're working on a specific sales challenge, you're thinking, how am I going to get that? I've got a big meeting with so-and-so, with this important person, and I want it to be really good, but I can't think of what to do. You can't think when you're in a quick digital environment where everything is like this. But if you go out and give a walk for half an hour, breathe some fresh air, do some exercises or something, ideas come into your head. If you ask them to, if you say, I need to figure out what to do, I've got this big meeting and it's really important, and just go walk with that question in your mind. All my good ideas have come from leaving my computer and walking and then coming back.
That's very true. So, in
Mhm.
fact, so Jill, I have another question. Do you think emotional intelligence is important in sales?
Yes, I think it's very important. I think it's so important, because you're dealing with people. You're not dealing with an organization. An organization is people. So who are these people? What are they concerned about? How, what's going on in their mind? What kind of outcomes do they want? How can you help them? And well, for one thing, I think that emotional intelligence is the ability to delay your own gratification too. And it's not just about other people, but it's controlling your own gratification. And if you're so excited coming in and you're trying to sell me, I'm literally coming toward the phone, people feel the push, because you're so focused on achieving your goals. You have to learn how to control yourself and stay back and have the conversation back here, because that's the only way to draw people to you and to the ideas that you have, because they create resistance. But emotional intelligence is for example, seeing when you're talking to somebody and suddenly they go, it's like, oh, that's interesting. They just changed. The look on their face. What does that mean? What are they thinking? What are the implications of that? It's just seeing when you're talking to somebody and they lean back. What does that mean? Now, if I lean back, and by the way, I used to teach sales reps all the time, because this is when people could literally meet with human beings, but salespeople get so excited that they would lean forward. And I want to tell you this, right? And the minute they lean forward like this,
Yeah.
the person they're talking to leans back. And if they don't realize that they've created an obstacle, and that buyer is protecting him or herself against the spew of information that's going there. So you paying attention to how people respond and what they're doing, the ability to control your own desire. I mean, to me, sales is an outcome. It happens. That's about, it happens if you're doing the right things, and it's about being emotionally intelligent to help and work people through what they have to go through in order to achieve their goals.
Mentioned that of course it's also about the quality of work that we are doing. It's not just about the numbers. So of course numbers, you can really measure a person's achievement through their numbers, but is
Yes.
it when can you say that, okay, this person has achieved probably 80% or 70% of their numbers, and yeah, still they're a good salesperson? I mean, is there any other way besides the measurable, besides the numbers yardstick?
Is there anything besides the numbers yardstick? Well, yeah, you can look at their own performance. You could sit, numbers can speak in many different ways, in terms of, like I was saying, it's not just the more button, there's the better button. But if you sit down with somebody and you explore the numbers with them, and I'm not sure if I'm going to answer your question. And if you said, I could say to you, Ashita, it looks like you're making 50 calls every day and you're getting 2 conversations. Okay.
Okay.
How about if you can get 3 conversations from those same 50 calls, and I can invite you to improve. And if you would see that if you get 3 conversations, how does that roll out? I mean, I think you can use numbers to invite people to get better and to say, you're giving 7 presentations a month, and 1 out of those 7 is closing. Let's figure out if we can get 2 out of 7 to close. And just for example, let's take a look at how that would impact your income if you could increase your close rate. All the numbers increase over time. I mean, if the numbers are increasing, people are getting better, they can see it. But you have to know if they're coachable. So if what I'm looking for is somebody who's willing to be coached and willing to look at new ways and to how can they get better. If you get somebody who's coachable and willing to try something new and willing to have you look at what they did and say, where did I run into problems and how could I do it better? Then you've got somebody who's going to turn into a really good salesperson. But if they don't want you listening, if they don't want feedback, if they don't want to get better, they're not going to be successful in the long run. I would look for the getting better person, always.
Okay. So, do you think companies need to focus on keeping salessters happy? Like, is incentive the only way to they need to focus on to have happy sales employees in the organization?
The biggest reason people leave is because they have a bad boss.
Yeah.
So I really think that companies should be really focusing on their first line sales leaders, the ones who impact all those salespeople, and helping them become better managers and helping them create an environment where people like to be a part of it. They feel like they're part of the team. They don't feel like they're just being measured by the numbers, but they feel like this person, their boss, has a strong interest in their own development and wants them to get better. If people feel there's a career path and a next step, they're much more likely to stay in a position than, even if they make a lot of money, but if they feel like it's a dead end job, they don't want to stay. So there are many factors. And I know a lot of companies are creating slight upgrades in positions. Like you start out as a business development rep, and then you become a senior business development rep, and then you become a junior account executive, and then you become an account executive, and then so they have places that you can go, and it's more than just financial, it's growth, and people want to be able to have that growth opportunity. And if you can't provide that, and if you can't provide a good manager, who's helping them achieve that growth, then they won't want to stay either. So it's not just money.
Okay. You to share some advice that you would like to give the female salessters, all the women in sales out there.
Oh, well, first of all, let me just say sales is a wonderful profession for females, and we have a lot of natural skills and abilities that make us really good at it. Our ability to create conversations. We are better at creating conversations, and conversations really matter. They really matter. That's the emotional intelligence. And we can get people to talk and to share more information with us, that we can then use to help them find the right solution for what they're trying to achieve. It's also like we talked and use the word creativity. It's a very creative profession. I mean, people don't realize that. They think it's just pitching, pitching. It's not about pitching and, you know, talk, talk, talk. It's about how do you create a moment? How do you create a meeting? How do you create a presentation? There's a huge amount of creativity in there, and there's a chance for a great deal of growth as a human being. But let me just say, if you learn how to do it, and you want to do anything else in life, the ability to help people understand and get buy-in to some ideas that you have. Like if you see a way, you want to start your own company and you see a way to make things better, you have to get other people to say yes too. And it's not about selling them, it's about facilitating a conversation to help them understand the value they'd get from doing something a little differently. So to me, it's a skill that it's a lifetime skill that helps you, whether you're working on a nonprofit type of initiative and trying to, you know, launch something, or you're working on something in your schools and trying to, you know, do something as a parent with children in schools, or you have whatever career choice you have. Everybody has ideas, and an idea is a change initiative. And it requires you to really stop and think, what does it take to make people change? And that's what sales is. It's not about pushing, it's about thinking about what do we have to put in place to get people to move.
So like you said, it is the art of creation.
Yes, I think so. I
Yeah,
really
it
do.
truly is. It truly
Yeah.
is. So, Jill, honestly speaking, I think this was the best sales meeting that I've had ever on a Monday. So, thank you so much for taking out time to chat with Salesters. And
Yes.
so, to all Salesters out there, hope you enjoyed watching this sales talk with Jill. Now, head back to salestors.com and please subscribe. Now, you get access to a lot of sales content there, and I will be posting much more very soon. Thank you and goodbye.